All right, everybody. Turn away from your screens. Take a break from college football. I know it's back. Ryan and I are just as excited, but the show must go on, and the games will still be there when we get back. I'm Brandon. That's Ryan. This is the Passing Report, as it is every Thursday night right here on YouTube and Twitter. Reason to celebrate today. Um, it finally happened. It got so bad that even the ever the optimist Rob Thompson finally had to say enough is enough and do something about this Taiwan Walker situation. So, if in case you missed the news, I think Matt Gelb broke it first. Apologize if I have that wrong, but Walker officially to the bullpen. It looks like Tyler Phillips is going to take his place in the rotation. I know a lot of people would probably say, Kobe Allard had the better run of things, but there's a weird rule with the minors where once you're down, you have to spend what is it 10? It might be games. It's game. I think it's games. There's 10 games before you can come back up. So he wasn't eligible to make the next start. Therefore, it is going to go to Phillips. So yeah, Taiwan's closer to being gone. How are we feeling?
I mean, with a guy with a 60 ERA. I mean, I think he has to go to the bullpen, and obviously, more than just the bullpen. I think he needs to be a DFA candidate because it's just the interview rubbed me such the wrong way. I thought it was a meme, but then it was one of the official Philly reporters. I forget exactly who tweeted it, but it's like the start is moving in the right direction. It was 12 hits and 6 runs. No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, that bullshit about the contact wasn't as hard. I don't give a shit how they did it, man.
Jordan had like 3 home runs.
Yeah, it's 6 runs in 4 innings. I mean, look, I get that he pitched 6 innings, but he in any other game he would have been yanked in the 4th after 6 runs. Rob, rightfully so, didn't want to burn his bullpen going into the Braves series, so they left him out there to get shelled, which is good. But yeah, I'm with you. It had very like Nick Sirianni in the midst of the losing streak vibes, where everybody sees that something's wrong and they're telling you that no, nothing's wrong. It's really okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like we should have made a move for a 5th starter at the deadline. I mean, I know.
Yeah,
I know next year it's gonna be Painter, but like 1-year rental maybe.
It would have had to been the only reason. I mean, I'm not against it. I think we should have made more moves than we did, but it would have had to be an extremely cheap rental because this team is built for October. September is kind of a byproduct, and you don't need 5 once you get to October. So the rental would have truly been a regular season rental, and I mean, Phillips has been fine. Allard's been better, but I mean, it's a luxury. I think the bigger concern is we need an outfield bat worse than we thought we did.
Yeah, I mean, Rojas has been good in the field since then. So
yeah, he's been good.
He's been good in the field overall, but like since then, I've noticed it more just because I guess I'm paying attention to it after the trade deadline a little more. I mean, we're down to the Braves right now, right? Or do we come back at the lead?
I don't know. I've actually honestly been watching college football today.
Yeah, you and me both. I had to. The Phillies are back in the lead. It's 5-4. They scored 5 runs in the past 2 innings. So productivity. We love to see that.
Yeah, I think we're up 6 games on the Braves. Now we got to play them 7 times the rest of the way. I think maybe something like that. So
it was in that ballpark. That was like 6.
Yeah, you're not out of it, but
I mean, it's tough. It feels like the vibes are still overall down from where we were.
Yeah, it's not the same, but it doesn't matter. Just if they catch fire the last week or 2 of September, almost forget it.
We're gonna feel great.
Yeah, we just gotta get there. But that's really it for the Phillies at the moment.
I agree. We'll talk about them more when their season gets, back in the upswing into the playoffs because they're heading there. Well, they're basically heading there. I don't want to jinx anything because, I remember that tweet that the division was already over, and
Yeah.
you don't want to jinx anything.
All right, Ryan, I see your point now. We are now live on Twitter. I evidently did not click the live on Twitter button when we started this. So, the Philly stuff went on deaf ears, except for our 12 YouTube subscribers. But that's fine. We caught it when it matters. And that's the Eagles.
People watching on Twitter know what we said about the topic that's listed on screen.
Exactly.
I don't think there's no inferring. It's exactly what happened. So they know.
They know we're out on timeline. They were following the news too. But the more exciting news, the more hopeful news is that the Eagles 53 is pretty much set. We planned on going through each position group a little bit deeper than we're probably going to get to be able to do, but we'll give an overview. But just first reactions when you saw the 53, what did you think? Anybody who you thought, how did they make it? Any surprises where how didn't they? Let me in on your thoughts.
I mean, it's pretty evident which move I'm going to point to, and it's James Bradberry making the 53. I'm kind of stunned about that. The quotes after just didn't rub me the right way with what they said.
Yeah, it felt like he got it based on who he was.
A little bit. Not who he is now.
Yeah, I mean, even like you said, the conversations around it weren't, last year James was a great player going through a rough patch. And this year it was, you heard the words like, veteran leadership, familiarity. It was a lot of intangibles, not a lot of skill-based adjectives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. It's just, he's hurt. Well,
it ended up working out because now he's off to 53 for 8 weeks on IR.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of it had to do with the dead cap money too. You don't want something for nothing. But for instance, I've always thought Zach McPherson was fine in the secondary. He's not stunningly great, but I thought he was fine. I'm a little bit bummed to see that I think Bradberry took his spot.
Mm-hmm.
Bradberry had to get one of the last DB spots.
Yeah.
And for McPherson not to make it's kind of a bummer. Like I said, neither guy is going to make or break what the Eagles are this year. I hope God. If they do, then something else has gone wrong. But
not wrong.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised about that. Nobody else shocked me that much. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty much the usual suspects. Yeah. I didn't think John Ross had too much of a chance once they brought in Dotson. Even before that, it seemed like Paris Campbell and Johnny Wilson had the inside track on him.
Yeah. And Paris Campbell got cut too. We spent a lot of time on
him. Yeah, I know. We wasted half an episode.
It's just me continuing my bias from him out of Ohio State. So
what's surprising is that he took the practice squad spot. I thought he was gonna.
Wants to be on a winning team. I gotta respect it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just thought he was going to shop his services around a little bit more. He was one that surprised me, and it ended up working out for him. But Jack Stoll, the other one that kind of surprised me. He's been in pro for a little while. I thought, again, he was going to go and try and find an opportunity somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot Will Greer was on the roster, to be completely honest.
Yeah, so did I.
When I saw his name pop up, I was like, cool.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I thought he was on the Cowboys.
Me too.
That's where I thought he was.
Yeah, we follow this team extremely closely, so for us to be surprised,
there's a name or two every now and again. I get lost in the fantasy thing where no one's drafting Will Greer in their fantasy draft, so
sure.
I don't really cover past the top guys for that aspect.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, the team.
Yeah.
The battle was Tanner McKee versus Kenny Pickett all off season. So for the 2 spot, so Will Greer just didn't get talked about at all.
No. But speaking of the quarterback room, we're going to start with our position by position breakdown this week with at least the QB room and the running back room. If we wrap those up a little bit more quickly, we'll jump into some of. We talked about O-line and wide receiver last week, so maybe we'll get into the tight ends. But looking at the Eagles quarterback room this year, you obviously have Jalen Hurts as your starter. At least on the PhiladelphiaEagles.com depth chart, which take that for what it is. Tanner McKee is listed at 2, and Kenny Pickett is listed as 3. Again, take that for what you will, but what Jalen's Jalen, that's not really too surprising. Are you surprised at all that it appears as though McKee got the nod at 2?
No. After what we saw in the preseason, I mean, it all just made sense. We talked about how we thought with the draft capital and, former pedigree of starting for an NFL team, they're going to give it to Kenny Pickett, and gladly, it's not seeming like it's going to go that way. So I'm all for Tanner McKee being the backup quarterback. Obviously, you don't want your starter going down in any case, and I don't feel as good as years past with Gardner Minshew or Mariota. Like, I felt like a certain level of security with those guys because they were, former starters. And like
Mariota dude, when he got out there, that security was gone.
I know. It was more like the thought before they stepped on the field.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Like, they'll be able to at least kind of get by and, give your defense a little rest.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to manufacture drives. I don't know if they'll be able to put it in the end zone, but like you're like, okay, at least we're gonna get some time of possession here, maybe get some points on the board, and like our defense will have to carry us through, but they're gonna get some rest. So, I mean, I like going with the unknown product. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? I hope we don't see him at all this season. That's not a shot at him. That's just I want Jalen Hurts to play all 17 games and be completely fine. But hey, well, 16. I want that first round bye. I want him getting a little rest. Yeah, 16. Let's go 16.
It's definitely a departure from the way how he's operated for since 2017. We kind of started this trend of investing in the backup quarterback position. Now they invested in Kenny Pickett and he just didn't work out. But I mean, you think of who's been our backups for a while. I mean, Nick Foles goes without saying. Mariota, like you said, former first-round pick, proven starter. Gardner Minshew is a current starter in the NFL. I'm trying to think if I'm missing any. Am I missing anybody? I feel like I'm missing an era. Who is our backup post Nick? Oh no, it'd be 2 years of Nick, 2 years of Mariota, right?
Hurts is in there.
Who?
Hurts is in there for a year. With Wentz, he backed up Wentz for a little bit, so technically he's on the list.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Does it go Hurts to Mariota?
Yeah. Wait. No.
Well, Hurts started. It goes Hurts, Wentz, Mariota.
Yeah. Yeah. And then was it Minshew? No, Minshew was before Mariota because Mariota was here last year. And Minshew was a starter.
I'm skipping.
So
I'm skipping an era too.
Yeah. But anyway, all that to be said, you listen to the names we're rattling off. Carson Wentz, proven starter. Jalen Hurts, high draft capital. Mariota, proven starter. Gardner Minshew, proven starter. And then coming into a season where Tanner McKee has, very little game experience, almost none. Kenny Pickett has game experience, but yeesh. I don't know if it makes me feel better or worse about him. So it's a new dawn for the quarterback. We are very dependent on Jalen Hurts staying healthy, more so than we've ever been.
Definitely feel worse about that. Just flashing back to that. Lowest touchdown percentage in the NFL history, history of the NFL, that's just not good.
No, so
there's no way to icing it, look at the positive of that. That is terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like he didn't have anything in Pittsburgh either. I mean, of course, Matt Canada was calling the plays and Matt Canada, but if you talk to Steelers fans, Matt Canada's terrible.
for sure.
But he had George Pickens, who was a good wide receiver. He had Deontay Johnson, who was a good wide receiver. He has Najee and Warren in the backfield. Like, they're competent. I don't think they're the best, but like, they're serviceable NFL running backs. Pat Freiermuth, like, there was something there to at least be semi-productive, and he just showed nothing.
Yeah, he should have been middle of the pack. I mean, that was the middle of the pack talent offense, so he should have been a middle of the pack efficiency quarterback. But to come in last in the NFL in a league that includes the Carolina Panthers is pretty bad.
I mean, like I said, Matt Canada did that man absolutely zero favors. Remember when Kenny Pickett audibled to a play to win the game, and
Matt Canada
just with the Matt Canada, what are we doing?
I wanted to run the ball.
That gave me a little hope. Not gonna lie, when he was coming as the backup, like I'm not thinking like, oh, he's gonna be some really good backup. I think he's gonna be serviceable, but that's out the window. It feels like at this point.
Yeah, he's I mean, again, it's just a website. It is the Eagles website, but I mean, take it for what it is. But it's Hurts, McKee, Pickett at the moment. Dropping back a little bit further to the running back room, no surprise at the top, Saquon Barkley is going to be your lead back. There was some conversation in an interview we just did about what exactly that means. He said they're not going to do it. God, I hope they don't do it. But he said he was prepared to tote the rock 40 times a game if he needs to. We're not. Let's not fly too close to the sun here. But it seems as though it is going to be more of a lead back, secondary back role than it's been in the past with Barkley, Gainwell, and Will Shipley, who I actually really enjoyed watching play in the preseason. I found it hysterical that members of the Eagles were likening him to Rex Burkhead because it feels like they just found another white running back, and they're like, yeah, he reminds me of that guy. But he did look good. He looked comfortable. He looked multidimensional. I think he has a role on this team this year, but it's without doubt the Saquon Barkley show, and then Kenneth Gainwell for a little bit of to spell him from time to time.
I think Will Shipley's going to take that number 2 job, if I'm being completely honest, at some point.
You think he's going to overtake Gainwell?
I think he is. I love that tape from Clemson, and 4th round is right where he should have went. Like, I'm not saying he was a draft steal or anything. Like, I throw that out a lot, I feel like. Like, I'm like, okay, that guy went a lot later than I thought. 4th round was perfect for him. And I have a feeling that he's going to overtake him halfway through the season. I'm not saying he's going to rush Saquon for any carries or, take away from Saquon's workload at all, but he'll be there to spell him. And like, he was getting work at receiver in camp. And, I know Jalen Hurts.
You already have a wide receiver. Britton Covey made the roster.
I'm just saying he could add something out of the backfields. I know Saquon can do the same thing, but like, hey, maybe Will Shipley can get some run here and hopefully impress, and it'll just be more backfield depth for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I might be in a rare camp where I actually really like Kenny Gainwell as a back. He's had his issues with ball security for sure, but I think as far as the backup running back goes, he has lead back qualities as a secondary back. I'll put it that way.
I don't dislike the guy. It's just how much I like Will Shipley and what I saw in camp and everything in the preseason. So
yeah, and
it's more so the mystery box factor. It feels like we know what Kenneth Gainwell is. He's not bad at all by any means, but like the mystery box.
Yeah, I was glad that they went and got him. It was tough to do because that was essentially closing the book on Boston Scott, who's been a really great Eagle. Just kind of Johnny on the spot anytime you ever needed him. There's games he had to start for us, and he would still give you 70, 80 yards on the ground typically. So it's tough to see him go, and it was tough for the Eagles to make a pretty unnecessary move. Like running back behind Barkley and Gainwell wasn't a need. So I do like that they kind of thought outside the box, saw the tape on Shipley, and just wanted to get the guy in the building. And it's nice to see that he took advantage and able to make the 53. I do think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I loved watching him in camp. I'm a little bit more hesitant, I think, to jump him off the depth chart, but I'm really glad that he's on it.
Yeah, I mean, Howie had what felt like a bazillion 4th round picks this year, so like, why not use one on a talented back that could make an impact in year 1? So
So
I'm all
then
for it.
moving on to, we talked wide receiver we talked Jahan Dotson in essence the last time. We didn't really talk wide receiver. AJ Brown, no surprise there. Devontae Smith. As I'm reading this, actually, the McKee Pickett thing means absolutely nothing because the wide receivers are in no particular order.
What they got?
So
They got Jahan Dotson as the one.
they have Britton Covey as the 2. So, like I said, no
Ball.
particular order.
We ball.
Yeah, so AJ Brown, of course, is your 1. Devontae Smith, we'll call him 1A. I don't think he's a 2. In all likelihood, Dotson's going to be your 3rd, and then other guys making the roster. Britton Covey as a wide receiver, which is pretty cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 years, he's been a practice squad guy who's gotten the season-long call-up. And Johnny Wilson, 6th-round pick, athletic freak, who at a time looked like he had an outside shot at wide receiver 3. But obviously with Dotson coming in, just glad to see that he did make the team.
Yeah, I've been very adamant about Johnny Wilson. I just thought, his tape wasn't there when I was watching Keon Coleman, who went in the 2nd round. Of course, you watch the guys that are on the same team. Like, I didn't really like his tape, but like I've been saying on this podcast, 6th round, 6'6" wide receiver who could have some athletic upside.
It's where you take chances.
It's where you throw the darts, and if they don't hit, I mean, the Colts cut their guys that they've drafted in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. I think 2 in the 5th already. So like, you just take chances out there, and he's stuck on the roster, and wish him the best. And he has some upside there. So I hope maybe he develops into something if Dotson doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think Dotson. I hope Dotson's going to work out. I don't know if you saw the interview with AJ Brown had media availability today, and he said that those 2 trained together in the offseason. He really liked what he saw.
Putting the word.
What stuck out was
Howie.
He was like, he said, I don't invite anybody out to train with me, but he saw something. He thought he saw something in Dotson where, the physical ability was there, the speeds, like it was there. It wasn't putting it together. Washington was obviously not a great environment for a receiver.
No.
So it's kind of cool to see Brown took him under his wing in the offseason, pre-Eagles. And then for this to work out, I don't know, it just gives me even more hope because AJ Brown's typically, he'll tell you what he's thinking, for better or for worse. So if he co-signs this guy, I'm kind of on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, we were on board with it considering the Howie math and everything that had to go along with it. And, Penn State guy, it's feel good, man. Like,
yeah, dude, former 1st-round pick. I mean, bad team in Washington, not a good way to judge. I mean, think of like quarterback in Washington.
I do think he was overdrafted, though. For
Yeah,
what he was as a college product and, everything around him. I forget who went after him. I'm going to have to look. I know there was someone like big that went right after him. I'm going to get back to you on that.
Okay. Anyway. In the meantime, we're going to skip over tight end because it couldn't be more boring. Grant Calcaterra is back again, of course. Dallas Goedert as your lead tight end. They're the only 2 tight ends on the roster because one of them goes down before you tight ends. Pretty easy to get your hands on. As long as it's not Goedert. He's impossible to replace, but Calcaterra, great guy. You can get depth in tight end. The offensive line was, I thought, kind of a cool one. Obviously, Mekhi Becton figures to be your starting right guard this year. One that was kind of cool, I don't know if you saw his interview, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, Fred Johnson. They talked to him about, taking a new role at the Eagles and how he was just about out of the league. And just, what Stout can do for a guy. It was kind of cool to hear that he came here begrudgingly. He didn't want to do anything. He was like, he said he came in with a bad attitude and he was ready to be done with the NFL. But Stout saw how gifted he was. I mean, physically, he's a freak. The talent is for sure there. And he was like, he wouldn't let him quit. He was like, I'm going to treat you the same as everybody else. I'm going to run you the same as everybody else. Like, you are not quitting. There's something in there. And he made the team, and, he gave a glowing review of Stout. He was like, I'll do whatever he needs me to do. I'll play tackle, guard, I'll play center. I will go wherever Stout wants to put me. I'm all the way bought it.
That's awesome. I mean, So you want out of your guys, especially the end of the roster guys, they just want to get on the field, man, and got to respect a feel-good story like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a testament to good coaching. I mean, you have a guy who completely quit on himself, didn't want to even be on the team. Like, he didn't want to make the 53. He just wanted to be done with football. And Stout turned it all around, and now he's going to, he'll be offensive line depth. I mean, hopefully
man. We've been over.
we don't see him too much. But yeah, dude, Stout's the man. We've said it before. He should get a statue out front when his run with the team is over. But hopefully that's not for quite a long time.
And to get back to you on that, it was 2 picks later when the Eagles traded for A.J. Brown. So maybe I just forgot that whole moment because it was just crazy.
That is bananas. So he went before A.J. Brown?
No, he didn't go before A.J. Brown. He went before the trade.
Oh, before the trade. Yeah, the years went down. Okay. Well, now they're both Eagles, different levels for sure. But the wide receiver room looks as good as it has in a very, very long time. I mean, the top end is definitely better. But I think he's the best 3 we've had since, correct me if I'm wrong, probably Torrey Smith.
Oh, yeah. You got to go back a couple of years.
Yeah, and Torrey had a horrible regular season, but he came alive in the postseason, which is what mattered.
All that matters.
Was he our 3 that year, or was Aguilar, do you think?
You could go back and forth. I think they alternate it.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought about that. Aguilar, I believe, is available. I thought they want him back. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Quez Watkins was trying to talk his way back onto the Eagles on social media. He posted some picture of him in like an Eagles jersey because he got cut from his team, and the fans jumped all over it. Stay away, bum. We don't want you. Forget my number. Like all kinds of shit.
Yeah, the fan base can be rough. I mean, we don't take it lightly, and that Super Bowl drop is living rent free in a lot of our minds still.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, but just the thought of like, let me put this trap out just to feel better about myself, and then the people you're trying to pander to are like, get the fuck out of here. We don't like you.
It's the NFL is a rough world, man. Especially when you wrong the fans or the fans feel wronged. Like,
dude, that is humbling. But all right, we're gonna get through the offense today. So that means next week we can spend the episode going through the defense, going through special teams. Although there's not much there really. Man's back, and of course Jake DeMake is back. But that will be a topic for next week. I'm Brandon. He's Ryan. This is the Passing Report. Go College Football back on.
Yep.